sessions. So this is the first time something like that we are doing. We have done a couple of times. We were doing in Radha Govindji circle. We had started sessions, but due to some reason or other, we could not, continue. And then there was a lot of discontinuity. But at that point of time, we were not such a big group. We were a very small group. And now Radha Govindji circle is becoming slowly bigger. More and more people are joining. So I think it becomes a wonderful opportunity for all of us to come together and read Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the success of any community depends only if we all have a common taste of Srimad, common taste of Krishna Katha, common taste of holy name. So unless and until that is not the our center of our relationship, then that relationship, that community will not survive. And because as a group we all are, as an individual we all are different people, we all have different personalities, we all have different likings, dislikings. So if you ask us on a general platform, we all cannot be, maybe in a long term we cannot have a common nature, we cannot have a common liking. But when Krishna is the center of our relationship, Krishna is the center of our our all binding, all the foundation is Krishna and Krishna Prema, then we all can be, together, and we can all can make a spiritual progress. Because the progress in spiritual life primarily depends on our attachment to the holy name, our attachment to Krishna Katha. That's the goal. We all have made so much sacrifice in our material life, in the sense that we are taking out our time, valuable time in our material life. We all are doing something or else to make living. In that, if we are taking our some time out, we are making some sacrifice in the material aspect. But if that sacrifice is not directed towards Krishna, then we will not be able to make spiritual progress in long term. So I'm grateful to Saumya Raghunath Prabhu, because Saumya Raghunath Prabhu started in these sessions in his small set of devotees within Raghunath Das Goswami sector. And I think it worked quite well. And because of that reason, Prabhu shared his experience just last week. So we thought, okay, why don't we extend it to the whole circle so that everybody gets benefit. So my humble request to all of you is, please utilize this opportunity. Speakers will be putting a lot of effort to, to prepare for it. And for all of us, it's a wonderful opportunity, because if we sit and read, of course, we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam every day. But, we take a lot of time to read. And I think those devotees who are reading can vouch for it, that even if we spend 1 hour, we read hardly 10 shlokas or something like that, right? 10, 15 shlokas. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to get a glance of what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going to cover chapter by chapter every week, but just for the first canto, we are going to do a combined sessions of 3 sessions, where we'll cover six chapters, because those devotees who have already covered it in last 6 months, I think it will be a little bit too much for them to have it again. So just for first canto, we are doing combined 6 chapters each. And from second canto onwards, every week there would be 1 chapter which will be covered. So a couple of points I would like to request everybody, whenever you read the chapter before, it will help you to come better prepared in the class. You will have a better interest in whatever the speaker is saying. So it will help you. Or in case you are not able, like today's session, maybe it was not told that what is being covered. So this whole week you can read after Saumya Raghunath Prabhu covers this topic. So every week there would be a different speaker, different devotees from our circle will take the initiative, and they will speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll not take much time. My humble request again is that utilize this opportunity and get ourselves immersed in the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So Saumya Raghunath Prabhu, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everyone for attending this morning Bhagavatam sessions. So, being the first session, I think it would be a little difficult, but I think hopefully we'll get used to it and make it a regular habit of attending these Srimad Bhagavatam sessions. So, today we will start with Canto 1, where we will see the overview of chapter 1 to 6. Okay, so we'll start with the prayers. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयोदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So today we will see chapter 1 to 6. So at the starting of Srimad Bhagavatam, so Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the Puranas written by Srila Vyasadeva. And in the first chapter, we can see the first three verses, Srila Vyasadeva actually glorifies the Supreme Lord. So in the first verse, he glorifies the Supreme Lord Vasudeva and he explains how he is the primeval cause of all the causes and how with his potency he is creating, he's sustaining and is destroying the whole universe, and how he is directly or indirectly he's cause of everything, and how he is actually he has imparted this Vedic knowledge to Brahmaji through the heart, right? And then in the second verse Srila Vyasadeva writes that no one has to take up this Srimad Bhagavatam. No, they need not pick up any other scriptures. No, he says that Kaitava Dharma, right? So we have to give up, or we have to reject, or we have to reject, or we have to give all the religious activities and just pick up Srimad Bhagavatam and learn from Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And develop attraction to Supreme Lord. And in third verse, Srila Vyasadeva writes, Nigamakalpatarorgalitam phalam Sukhamukhadamrita dravya samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhavu bhavika. So he's giving another reason that why one should pick up the Srimad Bhagavatam and read. He's telling that this is a mature fruit. It is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures given by Sukadev Goswami. And because he has spoken, now it has become Amrita Alayam. No, it has become Amrita. And then all the Rasika, who are the intelligent people of this Bhuvi, this earthly planet, should actually um, take pleasure in relishing this Bhagavatam because it is spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. So after these three initial verses, after Srila Vyasadeva writes about Srimad Bhagavatam, now he takes us to Naimisharanya, right? So he takes us to a place called Naimisharanya. And Naimisharanya is having a lot of significance. It is actually the center of the whole Brahmanda. And in Naimisharanya, we can see that there are thousands and thousands of sages. No, it is said that there are about 80,000 sages headed by Shaunika Rishi. And what they are doing? they are actually performing fire sacrifice. And they are not performing it for a day or week or a month or a year. They have been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. And why they are doing? Because they are able to oversee that Kali Yuga is going to progress, and people would be of dull headed, and they would be disturbed, and there would be lot of ill luck, or would be unlucky, right? So for the Loka Kalyanam, right? So they have planned to perform this fire sacrifice, and they have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And it is described in Bhagavatam that they have been doing for such a long that they are completely covered with the smoke of the fire sacrifice. And one day, while they have been doing this fire sacrifice, they are being visited by Suta Goswami, right? So in this whole Sabha, so there is a great esteemed personality, Suta Goswami, who actually comes to this Sabha. And Shaunika Rishi, they actually identify, no, they recognize the esteemed position of Suta Goswami, and they welcome him and they give him a seat, and then they proceed with certain questions, right? So this first chapter of Bhagavatam in first canto is actually said as questions by the sages, right? So after they give seat to Suta Goswami, they ask totally 6 questions. So this whole first chapter is all about Shaunaka Rishis asking these 6 questions. So we'll look into what are these 6 questions. So the first question they ask is, they are asking, what is the essence of the complete scriptures, or what is the goal of ultimate goal of a person, right? And they also describe that how the people in Kali Yuga, no, they are manda sumanda matayo manda bhagyahi upadrita. So they are manda, they are lazy, they are sumanda matayo, no, they are misguided, they are manda bhagya, their bhagya, no, it is manda, it is they are unlucky, and they are always upadrita, no, they are always being disturbed. So for a person like this, what is the ultimate benefit, no, for the people in general? And they're also asking, what is the ultimate essence of the scriptures? So they are saying, Bhurini bhuri karmani shrotavyani vibhagasa atha shado trata yad saram samudrita manishya bhuri bhadraya bhutanam yenatma suprasidati. So they're telling bhurini bhuri karmani. So there are so many prescribed duties, and shrotavyani vibhagasya, and there are so many scriptures, no, there are so many subject matters which one has to listen. But oh sadhu, can you tell us the saram? Can you tell the essence of all this, so that Bhadraya Bhutanam, no, it is very good for all the Bhutanam, for all the living entities, and at the same time it is Yenatma Suprasidati, and it also gives self-satisfaction for all the living entities, right? So these are the first questions, like what is the benefit, ultimate benefit for the people in general, and what is the essence of all the scriptures. And after that, Shaunika Rishi goes further to ask the third question. What is the third question? Suta janasi badram te bhagavan satatam pati devakhyam vasudevasya jato yasya chikirshaya. So they are telling, oh Suta Goswami, you are such a learned person. Can you tell us why the Bhagavan, who is Satvatam Pati, no, who is actually protector of the pure devotees, why did he actually take birth in the womb of Devaki? Or why did he appear as a son of Vasudev? Can you please let us know? So this is the third question. Right. So we'll see the answers. So actually the first chapter, it only describes about the questions of Shaunika Rishis. And from the second chapter, when Suta Goswami starts speaking, he actually gives answers to all these questions one by one. So first chapter consists of all the 6 questions. And second and third chapter are the answers to the 6 questions which Shaunika Rishis have. And then we'll see fourth, fifth, sixth today, which describes about Srila Vyasadeva and Narad Muni. Right. So we have seen 3 questions, and the fourth and fifth questions are on very similar lines. So they ask no, how does the Supreme Personality actually takes care of this whole material manifestation? No, how does he actually create? How does he maintain? How does he destroy? How does he take the different Purusha avatars to do all these things? And the fifth question is, can you let us know all the Leela avatars, no, all the different avatars which the Supreme Lord takes on this planet, on in this material world? So can you please describe about those avatars? And the last question they ask, so which is the last shloka of this chapter, they say, Bhuri Yogeshware Krishne Brahmane Dharma Varmani Swam Kashtam Adhuno Pete Dharmakam Sharanam Gataha. So they are telling now that Yogeshwara Krishna, no, he has left this planet, no, under whose shelter this Dharma is Sharanam Gataha, no, where this Dharma has taken shelter of. Okay. So these are the 6 questions which are asked in the first chapter. So now that we have completed first chapter, so now we will move on to the second chapter. So now that Sutta Goswami has heard all the questions, no, from the Shaunika Rishi, so we'll just repeat the questions. The first question is, what is the ultimate benefit for the general people? Second question is, what is the essence of all the scriptures, no, by which one can be satisfied in their heart by following it? And the third question is, what is the reason for the Supreme Lord to take birth in the womb of Mother Devaki, or to take birth as Vasudev, son of Vasudev, right? And the fourth and fifth questions are, how does the Lord maintain the material cosmic manifestation? How he creates, he sustains, he destroys. And then they also request him to talk about different avatars of the Supreme Lord. And at the last, they ask, now that the Supreme Lord Krishna, Vasudev, has left the planet, under whom the religion, the dharma has taken shelter of. Okay. So now in the second chapter, which actually says divinity and divine service, right? So basically, second and third chapter are the answers to these questions of Shaunika Rishis. So in the first shloka, actually, Sutta Goswami, he is completely satisfied. So it is a description which describes that he is completely satisfied by the questions which are being asked by the Shaunika Rishis. Why is completely satisfied? Because it not only gives benefit to them, but it also gives benefits to the whole world, right? All the living entities, right? So to such an extent that even today, even after 5,000 years of this occurrence of event, even still we are looking into the subject matters of Bhagavatam. We are inquiring what they have asked and how did Sutta Goswami respond to their questions, right? So it is so relevant. And in the further this chapter, he describes like how good their questions are and how well they are in line with the Loka Kalyanam, right? Because they have been thinking all these years to do something good for the world, and they have been engaged in this fire sacrifice. But now that they have asked this question, so we'll see what it leads for them, right? And in the second and third verses, Sutta Goswami actually pays his respects to Sukadeva Goswami. So he briefly mentions how Sukadeva Goswami, he takes birth in this material world as a son of Srila Vyasadeva, and he doesn't follow any formal uh, thread ceremony, right? So he doesn't take any uh, purificatory reformation ceremonies, right? So he just walks away immediately after he just walks away from his house, and Srila Vyasadeva, his father, he's shouting, oh son, and then it is described that Sutta Goswami, sorry, Sukadeva Goswami is completely detached from his house, right? Completely detached from his mother and father. So immediately after he takes birth, he just walks away from his house, and then he's completely naked. And when Srila Vyasadeva is actually running behind his son, calling, oh son, please stop. And then he crosses across a pond where all the women are taking bath nakedly. And when they see Sukadeva Goswami initially, when he goes in the front, so they all pay obeisances, they all pay respects by folding their hands to Sukadeva Goswami. But immediately when Srila Vyasadeva, he comes across them, so they're all trying to hide their body, covering their body with the cloth. And Srila Vyasadeva is so surprised. Now he asks, no, I am so old. My son is so young. He's 16 years old. So when you see him naked, you're not covering your body. But when I am here, no, you're trying to cover your body. Why is that? So these ladies, they reply that your son, Sukadeva Goswami, is such an renounced person that he doesn't make any difference between body of a female or male or a tree. No, it is all one for him. But because you're a grasta, you can make out the difference. So that's why we are trying to hide from you, right? So these are the glories which, Suta Goswami is trying to talk about Sukadeva Goswami. And he also pays obeisances to Srila Vyasadeva, who has actually written this Srimad Bhagavatam. And we'll see in further chapters like, what is the situation and occurrence of events which lead Srila Vyasadeva to actually write all the Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam in the end. And in the fourth verse, he is actually trying to pay obeisances to Narayana, right? So this is a famous verse which we always recite at the start of Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya udiret. So he's trying to pay obeisances to Narayana, the Supreme Lord, who is the goal of the scriptures or the Srimad Bhagavatam. He's trying to pay obeisances to Naranarayana, all the rishis, because of whom this Bhagavatam has come out, right? Because they have been the medium by which this Bhagavatam has been spoken. And he's also paying obeisances to Saraswati, right? So the goddess of learning, right? And Sanskrit is also the medium, and Saraswati the goddess of learning. So he's Suta Goswami is paying obeisances to Mother Saraswati and also Srila Vyasadeva at the end, because he is the author of this Srimad Bhagavatam. And now in the next verse, in verse number 6, so he's trying to answer the questions to the first and the second question. So what are the first and second question? So they are asking what is the essence of all the scriptures and what is the ultimate goal of general people in general, right? So in the verse number 6, so Suta Goswami is revealing the answer to the question. So what is he saying? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaituki aprahiyata ye atma suprasidati. So he's telling that no one has to follow this paro dharmo. What is this paro dharmo? This is yato bhakti radokshaja. What is that? This is doing devotional service onto whom? Adokshaja, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not to any demigods or any famous personalities. So one has to do bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. And how it should be? It should be ahaituki aprahiyata. No, ahaituki means it should be causeless. No, it should be without a reason. And aprahiyata, it should be without interruption, right? So we have seen this verse many times. And then he's saying that after one does this devotional service without interruption, without any reason, then what one achieves? They achieve suprasidata, no? They achieve the complete satisfaction in their heart. So now after revealing this answer, so he is also giving what one would achieve. So once one does bhakti, devotional service onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, what does they achieve? So he's explaining in the next verse. He's saying, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chad Ahaitukam. So he's telling once start doing bhakti unto Vasudev, there are two things they get. What is that? They get Vairagyam and Jnanam, right? Because if one has to be completely satisfied in their heart, one has to detach oneself from the material desires, right? And we all know it is not very easy to detach ourselves from all the material desires what we have, right? So Suta Goswami is telling, once one does doing the bhakti, so automatically they get vairagyam, no, they get freed from the attachment of material desires, and they also get jnanam, right? Because one has to know the absolute truth, right? The supreme tattva, like what is this cosmic manifestation, why I am taken birth, no, why I have been given a family life if one is married, what I should be doing on a day-to-day basis, if I'm going to office, if I'm taking care of my children, no, doing all these activities, how I can surrender each and every moment to the Supreme Lord. No, it is a big, it's a gnanam, right? So one has to know it perfectly to do, to execute all these things, so that one can be 24 bar 7, 365 days a day in the bhakti of the Supreme Lord, right? So many of us have this question, right? So no, we cook at home, we take care of things, we drop our children, we go to office. So how we can be, no, in devotional service all the time onto the and how we can remember the Supreme Lord every time, right? So one, when we do this bhakti, so we get this jnana and we also get this vairagya. And in the next verse, no, if no, Sutta Goswami is telling that if one follows any other occupational duty, right? Any other duty, no, varieties of prescribed duties if one follows, and if they are not able to achieve the goal, which is the devotional service onto the Supreme Lord, then that is a waste of time. No, he's mentioning that it is shramai kevalam, shramam hi, sorry, it is. What is that exactly? Shamahi Kevalam, right? So that is what he speaks in the 8th verse. So whatever we do, if that is not actually leading us to the Supreme Lord, then it is waste of time. And then how important it is for one to actually do devotional service with one-minded, right? So we also have this famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? 2.41, where Krishna is telling, Vyavasayatmika buddhir eke he kuru nandana bahushaka hi anantascha buddhayo vyavasayina. Right? So for a person who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, he is having how many thoughts? He is having only one thought. Like how I can serve the Supreme Lord. In any situation, in any place, at what time in a day or night, he's always thinking how I can serve the Supreme Lord. But on the other side, one who is not devoted to the Supreme Lord, then he is multi-minded, no? Right? So the right word is Bahusha Akahi Anantasya. Then he is having so many multi-thoughts, so many multi-assumptions, like, no, I have to do this, I have to get promotion, no, I have to see that, no, my kids score first rank in their school, no, I should enroll my kids in some whatever badminton or something, and they have to no, grow up and they have to play at state level, national level, and then ultimately go to the Olympics and win a medal for India, right? So there are so many other thoughts we might have if we are not devoted to the Supreme Lord. But once we are devoted to Supreme Lord, then we are one-minded, no, we are single-minded, we are focused, right? The same thing is also explained here in the 14th shloka. तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान् सत सत्वतां पति श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येय पूजस्य नित्यदा. So Sutta Goswami is telling that no, one should actually perform this bhakti onto Bhagavan. No, who is this Bhagavan? Satvatam Pati, no, who is the protector of the pure devotees. And what we should be doing? We should be doing Shrotavya. We should be hearing. We should be doing Kirtitavyasya. No, we should be glorifying the Supreme Lord. And then we should be dhyana. No, we should be remembering. And we should be doing pujasya. No, we should be worshipping. And how we should be doing? He is saying cha nityada. No, we should be doing this constantly. Right? So only when we are able to constantly hear, glorify, remember, and worship the Supreme Lord, then only we can achieve the ultimate goal of the life, which is bhakti onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he's also systematically giving, like for someone who is not having ruchi, right? For someone who is not having ruchi in doing the devotional service to the Supreme Lord, or someone who is not having the ruchi towards the Bhagavatam, right? For example, many of us, our situation is that we hardly pick up Bhagavatam. No, we don't have ruchi. In so many days, in so many weeks and months, years together, we are busy with all other activities which we think they're on priority. But hardly we give any priority to the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because why? Because we don't have the ruchi, we don't have the taste in reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So now, Suta Goswami is giving a formula like how one can develop this ruchi, right? So he is giving this in the 16th shloka of this second chapter. So he's telling शुश्रुषो शब्दवानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचि शान्महत् सेवना विप्रः पुण्यतीर्थ स sevana. So he's telling, so if one wants to have a Shaddavan, no, a complete attention to what? To Vasudeva Katharuchi. No, if someone want to hear this Vasudeva Katha with lot of taste and lot of attention, what one has to do? They have to do Mahat Sevaya. So they have to actually do service onto a great devotee, a great Bhagavata, right? So this is what we have seen, right? So initially, nobody is having any ruchi in spiritual matters, subject matters, right? If we look at our life also, if you look at, no, before we have picked up Krishna consciousness, right? Before we have met the devotees, before we have picked up the Bhagavad Gita, how we were? No, we didn't had any ruchi towards any of the spiritual activities, right? Leave about Srimad Bhagavatam. But when did we start taking ruchi in the subject matter of spiritual matters? Only when we have come across a devotee, right? And once we have started inquiring from the devotee, and once we have started doing some seva, right? Even asking a reasonable question also is a seva, right? And then once we get faith on that devotee, then we start doing whatever the devotee says. No, he says that no, you have to get up in the morning, you have to chant. Then we follow his instructions, we chant, right? So that is doing seva to the Bhagavata, right? It is not only physical seva, right? So you go and render some physical service. Even following instructions of a Bhagavata is doing seva, right? So that's how we have started our spiritual journey. So we have started taking the instructions of the devotee, and we are following. No, we are getting up in the morning, we are chanting, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we have started reading Bhagavad Gita, we started coming to temple, we started doing some service in the temple, right? So this is what Suta Goswami is telling. So once you start serving a Bhagavata, then you automatically get Vasudeva Katha Ruchi, right? That's when one gets more Ruchi in Srimad Bhagavatam, or in the subject matters of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And now, in the next few shlokas, he's telling what one achieves, no, when they actually get this ruchi, this ruchi for Srimad Bhagavatam. It is explained in 17th and 18th. So he's telling that when one actually Shrinvantam sa Katha Krishna. So one when starts hearing the Krishna Katha with utmost attention and dedication, with a lot of taste, what happens? He's telling that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is inside the heart of everyone, he actually takes care of cleansing the material desires what one has, right? So he says Hridayani Abhadrani. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in the heart of the person, he actually takes charge of cleaning, or cleaning the material desires what one has, right? So the ultimately, so what we achieve is by Srimad Bhagavatam, our heart is cleansed. And who is taking the responsibility? The Supreme Personality of God himself, as a Paramatma in our heart, he is taking the responsibility of making sure that no, we are cleansed with all the material desires and our heart is clean. And once our heart is clean, what happens? This is also a famous verse which we always read before the start of Srimad Bhagavatam session. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So once this inauspicious, what is this inauspicious? So all the material desires, what we have is actually the inauspicious in our life. So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He takes charge of cleaning all these inauspicious material desires from our heart, then what happens? We will be able to do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, right? So when our material desires are getting subsided, automatically what happens? We take a lot of interest in spiritual activities, right? So initially you just observe ourselves, how would we would have been. Now the first time when we meet a devotee, when we are progressing, and they say, okay, there is a Sunday feast in our temple, so can you please come in the morning, no, 7:30 till 10:30, right? So then we are little, no, we cannot take it. No, how can we spend, first of all, how can we go to temple so early? And how can we spend 3-4 hours in temple? No, we don't have any ruchi, right? Why we don't have that taste? Because we are having lot of material desires and we give priority to those material desires, right? So now that these material desires are getting cleansed by the Supreme Lord, so here Suta Goswami is telling that after Nashta Prayasha Bhadreshu, when these inauspicious thing, these material desires are getting destroyed, it becomes very easy for someone to do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloka. With Uttama Shloka, one is able to do service to Bhagavatam, Bhagavata, right? That is what practical it is, right? So once our material desires are getting subsided little by little, then little by little we are getting some ruchi. So we started attending these Bhakti Vriksha programs. Then we get more ruchi, then we want to hear in the temple. Then we go to temple. Then after hearing in the temple, what we do, we get more ruchi to do more devotional service, right? So then they tell, no, evening there is some seva at temple. So you have to be here at 5 o'clock until evening 8 o'clock, you have to do the service. So we come in the morning 3-4 hours, and again we are willing to come in the evening 3-4 hours to do service to the Supreme Lord, right? So why, how we were able to do, how that change of heart is there in our heart? That is because of we are able to do nitya, we are able to actually take ruchi in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Supreme Lord actually cleanses our heart, and which is helping us to do actually devotional service more and more and more. And then he's telling ultimately Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki, and we ultimately achieve the bhakti which is Naistiki, no, which is not flickery, no, it is irrevocable, no, it is actually grounded very rootly, actually, it is rootly grounded. So nobody can take that bhakti out of us very easily, right? So that's how we can be in Nishta in the path of bhakti, right? So in this way, Suta Goswami is trying to answer to all the questions of Shaunikarsha. So we have seen the answers to mostly first, second questions, like, what is the essence and what is the ultimate benefit. So he has answered that is Paro Dharma is to do bhakti against Adokshaja. No, one has to do bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. And we have seen the sequence of verses where Suta Goswami describes that, how doing bhakti helps, how it results to vairagya and jnanam. And if we do it, all other activities perfectly, but if we are not able to achieve bhakti, then how it is, waste of time. And then how one can, who is not able to have ruchi towards Krishna Katha, how they can get ruchi by serving Mahabhagavat, right? And we have seen that, how once we get lot of ruchi towards the subject matters of Krishna Katha, then how the Supreme Lord actually cleanses our heart, and then how we can do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, right? So till here we have seen. And the third question which the Shaunika Rishi asks is, what is the purpose of Supreme Lord taking the birth in the womb of Devaki? So for this, we have seen the answer already in Bhagavad Gita, right? So Krishna says, yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानामधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. Right? So whenever there is a decline in the religious principle, I advent. No? And then in the next verse, he is giving actual reason why he comes. Right? So that is the answer to the third question which Shaunika Rishi is asking. What is that? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the main reason is to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls, right? So that is the main motive of Lord Krishna adventing onto this in this material world. It is not that he wants to kill the asuras or he want to re-establish the religious principle, right? Those things can be done by his external energies, right? So one pralaya comes, one earthquake comes, it takes few seconds for all the demons to get killed, right? And for to establish dharma, there are so many great sages and munis like Srila Vyasadev, Sukadev Goswami, Suta Goswami. There are so many great personalities, Narad Muni. They can actually establish the religious principles. It is not required that the Supreme Lord to come and establish the religious principles, right? He comes only to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls, right? So when he comes, when he does this Leela, which are described in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is also described in various cantos where he takes avatar of Narsimha, Lord Rama, Parshuram, right? So when we actually hear all these pastimes of the Supreme Lord, what happens? Ultimately, we get a lot of attachment to the Supreme Lord, right? So generally, if there is a general question to everyone asked, like, whom do you like the most, right? So many people tell, right? No, I like Virat Kohli or I like Narendra Modi, right? How one is able to develop the liking towards a personality, right? Because they know who Narendra Modi is. This, what does he do, what is his personality, what are his characteristics, what is his behavior, right? So that's when everybody knows about these things about a person, they get attraction, right, automatically. So similarly, when Lord advents, no, he takes different avatars, he actually showcases his bhav or his characteristics, his qualities, right? And looking hearing all these leelas, no, we get a lot of attraction towards the Supreme Lord, right? So when we look at the pastime of Shabri, like how Lord Ram, he takes from the old woman and he actually takes the bear what are tasted by the Shabri, right? But it is against the principles of scriptures. But once Lord Ramchandra does that, so we have a lot of conviction that no, Lord Ramchandra is having so much love towards his devotees that he's ready to eat even the juta of a devotee, right? So when we look at the pastimes of Sudama, when Sudama comes, right? So he's given a seat by Lord Krishna, and what is Lord Krishna doing? He's actually washing the feet of Sudama, right? And all the queens in the palace, they are surprised, no? Like the Supreme Lord Krishna is worshipped by everyone, and he is worshipping the feet of Sudama, right? So all these pastimes, they attract the devotees, right? So that is the reason why the Supreme Lord, he advents, no, as a son of Vasudev or in the womb of Devaki. So this is the answer to the third question. Now for the fourth and fifth question. Okay, before we go into the fourth and fifth question. So in the second chapter, right? In the second chapter, actually, Suta Goswami, he concludes with a beautiful shloka. Like what is the essence or what is revealed in the scriptures, right? So he says, Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva paramaka, Vasudeva para yoga, Vasudeva para kriya, Vasudeva param jnanam, Vasudevam param tapaha, Vasudeva para dharmo, Vasudeva param gatim. Right? So in the second chapter, giving all these things as an answer to the questions, he's concluding that the scriptures are revealing that whatever knowledge is there, one has to know Vasudev. Whatever sacrifices they do, right? They have to do to realize Vasudev. Whatever yoga process they follow, they have to do to again realize Vasudev. And whatever kriya, whatever activities they do, they have to achieve Vasudev. And at, at the end of Jnanam, no, the goal of Jnanam, the goal of knowledge is to know Vasudev. The goal of tapa, the goal of doing all these austerities is to know Vasudeva. The goal of dharma, right, is to know Vasudeva. And the paragati, no, the ultimate achievement or the ultimate goal of life is to achieve Vasudeva, right? So with this, no, Suta Goswami concludes the second chapter. And in the third chapter, he actually answers the two next questions, fourth and fifth questions, which are like, how does the Supreme Lord maintains this creation, and what are the different incarnations of the Supreme Lord, right? So in this third chapter, Sutta Goswami basically he describes about uh, the Purusha avatars, right? So what are the Purusha avatars? So he talks about the Kshirodaksai Vishnu or Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksai Vishnu, right? And Karanadaksai Vishnu. Sorry. So Karanadaksai Vishnu or Mahavishnu are the same. And then Garbhodaksai Vishnu and Kshirodaksai Vishnu. Right. So we all know like how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no, one of the Amshas, no, they take this Mahatattva, this Mahavishnu form, and from the pores of the skin of Mahavishnu, each Brahmanda is emanating. And in each Brahmanda, Garbhodaksai Vishnu is there. And from the navel of Garbhodaksai Vishnu, there is a lotus flower on which Lord Brahma is created. And with the help of the Supreme Lord, Lord Brahma creates all the 14 planetary system. And so the Supreme Lord in the form of Paramatma or in the form of Kshirodaksai Vishnu, he enters into each atom and molecule of the universe, right? So these are brief descriptions like how the Supreme Lord maintains. And in the next further shlokas, about from 4th to about 28 shlokas, Sutta Goswami is mentioning different avatars of the Supreme Lord. He's talking about Kumar avatar, Vara avatar, Narad Muni, Naranarayana, Kapila, Dattatreya, and then Parashuram, Narasimha, Vamana, Rama, Vyasadeva, and then he's ultimately talking about the avatars of Krishna. So he's mentioning, actually, he's not talking much in detail. He's just mentioning like in what period which avatars come, first, second, third, fourth, like that. And he finally talks about like how the Supreme Lord takes birth as Buddha in the Kali Avatar, in Kali Yuga as Buddha and Kali. And in the end, no, in the verse number 28, right? So we'll recite this shloka number 28. So he's mentioning something about the Supreme Lord. What he's telling? He's telling Ete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyarivakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. Right? So in all the yugas, no, the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes different avatara. And they are all part of Krishnastu Swayam Bhagavan, right? So Krishna comes in his original form, and all the above mentioned avatars they are Kalha Pumsa. No, they are actually plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord Krishna, right? So this is one of the verses which we generally quote, like how we establish the fact that no, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Because he comes in different Purusha avatars like Narayana, Mahavishnu, and he's coming in different Leela avatars also, like Narasimha, Lord Rama, Vamana, Parashuram. But who is the original personality of Godhead? This is what Sutta Goswami says, that above all avatars are plenary expansions of the Supreme Lord, who is Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. But he comes in his original form as Krishna in the material world, right? So this establishes that the original name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, though he may have so many other names and so many other features in bodily feature also in different avatars, as per avatars, right? And as per the Purusha avatars also. And he sometimes takes the form of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva also, when there is not a particular soul, no, which is actually capable of taking that position. So these things are also discussed in Bhagavatam. So by this we can know how he maintains and how he actually expands, and he's everywhere actually in Virat Roop, and he comes in his personal form also in different avatars also. So at the end of this third chapter, so he also describes about this Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's telling, so now he's answering to the last question. So what is the last question? So after the Supreme Lord Krishna um, he has advented to spiritual planet, where the dharma has taken shelter to, right? So he is talking in this 43rd verse. He's telling, Krishne swadhamo pagate dharma jnana bisaha kalau nashta drishyamesha purana arko adhunobita. So he's telling that once Lord Krishna has gone to his dharma, right? So the dharma has taken shelter of this Bhagavad Purana, which is like Arka. This is like a sun on the horizon of a sky, right? So in the sky, we can see different planets, we can see different stars, we can see different moons. But sun has its own importance, right? It is like shining above in the sky above all these heavenly bodies, right? So that's how this Srimad Bhagavatam shines among all the scriptures. And the Dharma has taken the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if one has to know the Dharma or one has to know the Jnana in Kali Yuga, one has to um, take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So in this way, he answers the sixth question, right? So after Suta Goswami answers all these six questions which Shaunika Rishis has, so now they are inquiring about the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. So how this Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sukadev Goswami, right? Because he mentions that all these I have heard in a sabha where Sukadev Goswami is speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam to King Parikshit Maharaj. And from where did Sukadev Goswami learn? He has learned from his father Vyasadeva, right? So he's trying to give a history about how many personalities are involved in this Srimad Bhagavatam subject matter. And after hearing that, no, this Srimad Bhagavatam is having such a history, so now they are putting questions. Now, what did it inspire Srila Vyasadeva to write such Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So now this is subject matter discussed in the next chapter. So in the next chapter, so when they put all these questions, how did, of course, they ask even about Sukadev Goswami, they even ask about Parikshit Maharaj. They say, no, that Parikshit Maharaj is such a great king. He's having such a great qualities. Then what was the situation which made him sit at the bank of Ganga and sit for 7 days and 7 nights until his death, that he has to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam? So what did he perform? Right? So these are the questions which are asked by Sutta Goswami. So initially the 6 questions which they have asked, Sutta Goswami has answered. Now next they are asking about the history of Srimad Bhagavatam, particularly about Sukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, and what inspired Srila Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So in this context, in the 4th chapter, so Sutta Goswami is answering that how Srila Vyasadeva, he has appeared as a son of Parasara Muni, right? And then, he was the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So when Srila Vyasadeva, when he saw that the time has come that he has to write all the Vedic scriptures, all the Vedic knowledge whichever is present at that time, he has to write in written format, because he knew that in Kali Yuga, as the time progresses, the people would not be intelligent enough. They would not have proper memory to remember what is being told to them. So until then, what used to happen? The Guru Shishya Parampara, the Guru would give all the Vedic knowledge to their Shishya to oral recitation. Guru would just recite once, the Shishya would remember, and then this Shishya would follow the instructions all through his life. Then at one point of time, he himself would become Guru, and then again he would impart this knowledge to his Shishya, right? So this is how the Vedic knowledge was getting passed on. But one day Srila Vyasadeva, he recognized that looking in the future, that these people in Kali Yuga are sumanda, they're unintelligent, they're dull-headed, they're always disturbed. So what did he do? He actually took this painful task of doing vibhaga of the Vedic scriptures. He first divided the Vedic knowledge into Vedas, right? So he divided them into 4 Vedas. And what did he do? He actually um, he gave each Veda to each of the rishis. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam that each of the Veda, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Athar Veda, they are given to each of the munis, and he has told them that you have to actually propagate this knowledge. And then to Roma Harshana, he gives all the Puranas. And after writing Puranas, so he says that these Kali Yuga people are dull-headed. They cannot understand this Vedic knowledge so easily. So what did he do? He started writing Mahabharata. He knew, because in the story format, people can learn the Dharma very nicely. They would be interested to know the religious principles through stories. So in that way, so thinking that like that, Srila Vyasadeva also writes Mahabharata, right? So now after writing all these 4 Vedas, different Puranas and Mahabharata for the Loka Kalyanam, but still he is dejected. He is not feeling happy. And what is the reason? He reveals that. So he reveals in the shloka number 31. So he says that Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupita priya paramahamsanam ta eva hi achyuta priya. Oh, I have not written any scripture which actually propagates Bhagavata Dharma, no, which actually deals only with the pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which is actually very priya. Priya to whom? Paramahamsanam. Even to the liberated souls, these subject matters are very priya. And this is also priya to whom? Achyuta priya. It is also very pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So such scriptures I have not written. So that's why I think I am feeling dejected. So the moment Srila Vyasadeva thinks of these things in his mind, that this might be the reason why I'm feeling rejected. The very moment he sees Narad Muni coming to his place, right? So once he receives his spiritual master Narad Muni. So Narad Muni is the spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva. So once he receives Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni, he vividly sees that worry on the face of Srila Vyasadeva, and he starts asking Srila Vyasadeva. So here it ends, no? The fourth chapter ends here, where Srila Narad Muni appears. And from the fifth chapter, we see the conversation between Narad Muni and Srila Vyasadeva, right? So in fifth chapter, in the starting, Narad Muni is asking, oh, why you feel dejected? Is it that you are trying to identify yourself with the body more than the mind? Is it so? But then again, he rejects that, what is it? That theory. No, he says, no, you are such a renounced and great scholar, so it cannot be the case. So what is that? You tell me. No, why you are not able to being satisfied, right? So then Srila Vyasadeva, he tells that no, that I have written all these scriptures, no, looking at the future situation of the people. So I have lineated all the Vedic scriptures. Now I have divided them and I have given them in all the four Vedas, Puranas, and then this Mahabharata, Itihasa. So I have done all these things, but still I am feeling very dissatisfaction, right? So then Narad Muni says that no, you have only broadcasted this dharma, artha, kama, moksha in different forms, no, in different scriptures. So you have given the ultimate dharma also, which is the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But again, you have mixed it with all other subject matters, how to uh, gain prosperity, how to fulfill one's wishes, or how can one take moksha from this material world. So within all the subject matters, no, you have included this dharma, which is actually this paro dharma, which is actually devotional service. So you have to write, you have to write a literature which only speaks about the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So in the 11th shloka, he is mentioning that how any literature which is composed very beautifully, grammatically also it is very beautiful, it is very poetic to sing, but if it is not talking about the Krishna bhakti, or if it is not doing Krishna katha, then it is waste of literature. No, that literature has to not to be given any importance, though from literary point of view, grammatically, poetically, and from the words being chosen in the book, it might be at the highest form in terms of literature, but it should not be given importance. But on the other hand, so he is telling Tadvaga visargo janata viplavo yashmin pratishlokam abadya tapi na namani anantasya yasho nitya kirtida shravanti gayanti grihanti sadhava. So he's telling, on the other hand, if you write a literature, which can create a revolution, which can change the heart of the general public, and even though it may yashmin prati shloka abadhyata, that means every shloka can be grammatically mistaken, but if it is actually singing the glories of the names of the Supreme Lord, and it is actually talking the fame of the Supreme Lord, then the great people, they'll be ready to shrunuvanti gayanti, and grahanti. They'll be ready to accept such literature. So basically, Srila Narad Muni is encouraging that though the literally it may be grammatically composed with grammatical mistake shlokas, but if it is talking purely about the Krishna Bhakti, then the intelligent person would hear and accept such literature, right? So with this, no, Srila Vyasadeva, he encourages, um, sorry, Srila Narad Muni, he encourages Srila Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Srila Vyasadeva, he puts question to Narad Muni that how he is able to know all the subject matters, right? So in that context, Narad Muni actually is revealing his history, right? So he's telling that how in his previous life, he was son of a maid servant, right? And he was so much dependent on his mother, and they were very poor actually. And they were hardly, his mother would work in some other houses and make some living, and she will take care of Narad Muni in that previous birth, right? Then Narad Muni explains that how during one of the Chaturmasha, so they were Bhakti Vedantas, no, they were actually devotees of the Supreme Lord who had come to his home to stay for 4 months during the rainy seasons, right? So it is a very general norm that during Chaturmasya season, which is rainy season, the 4 months, the sages are advised not to move around. So sages generally they move around, they give this Bhagavad Katha, like this, they reveal this supreme knowledge to everyone, and they keep on moving. But during this Chaturmasya, they're advised to stay at one place. So it so happened that some Bhakti Vedantas they would come to Narada Muni's house and stay for 4 months. And during these 4 months, Narada Muni is telling that I have been serving them very nicely, and I have been taking the remnants, right? So once they have been served prasadam and whatever is left over, with their permission, Narada Muni would take the remnants, right? So it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? What it is said? भक्त पद धूलियारा भक्त पद जाल भक्त भुक्ता वेश तीन महाबल. So if one has to progress in this bhakti, no, these are the three strengths. What is that? We have to take the bhakta pada dhuli, the dust at the lotus feet of the devotees. We have to sprinkle or drink the water, which have been used to wash the feet of the bhakta, and we also have to take the remnants from whatever they have taken prasadam, right? So these three things are the main pillars for one to progress in bhakti, right? This is what is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Narad Muni is following this. He is actually taking the remnants and he's very nicely serving the Bhakti Vedantas. And during their stay, actually the Bhakti Vedantas reveal the scriptural knowledge to Narad Muni, right? Because in that situation, you cannot hardly expect like someone to give knowledge to this small kid, who is just dependent upon his mother and who is also a maid servant in others' house. No, they are not having a very good economic background, which by which he can support his education. So when these Bhakti Vedantas have parted this knowledge, so now Srila Vyasadeva is asking, no, what did you do? No, because the time would have come, no, after 4 months, these people have left. So Srila Vyasadeva is asking, what did you do after they imparted this knowledge to you? Now this is how the 6th chapter starts. So here the conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva ends. And again, the conversation continues when Srila Vyasadeva asks, no, what did you do once they have left, right? So here, Narad Muni, he tells that, no, once these Bhakti Vedantas have left after imparting the knowledge, so after some time, what had happened? Once his mother, early in the morning, when it was still pitch dark, she had gone to, out to milk the cows. And during that time, one snake has bitten her, and by the snake bite she had given up her body, right? So Narad Muni mentions that, no, because I had only one attachment, which was my mother, and she was the only person who was taking care of me, and I was totally dependent on my mother for everything. And that one dependency Supreme Lord has taken one day. And once when my mother had departed, then I started wandering all around. He started wandering to the forest, the mountains, to different cities and villages, and he started concentrating on the on Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after doing many years of tapasya, the God, the Supreme Lord, Vasudev, he reveals to Narad Muni in his heart. He just reveals for a moment and he says that, no, Narad Muni, you are not completely purified. So you continue your tapasya. So at the end of this life, you will have my darshan again. Until then, you will not have my darshan. Then after having the glimpse of the Supreme Lord, the ichha, the desire to do more and more devotional service towards the Supreme Lord has arisen in Narad Muni's heart. Then he does lot of tapasya for so thousands and thousands of years. And at the end of the millennium, when at the end of the millennium, when this whole, because of the pralaya, this whole material manifestation is destroyed. So then the next millennium, when the new millennium starts, Narad, that same boy, he takes birth as Narad Muni, who is son of Lord Brahma, right? And then we know like how Narad Muni, he propagates the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, how he gets actually cursed that he would not stay in a place and he would be wandering everywhere, every moment. But still he's attached to glorifying the Supreme Lord. And then we can see, even in scriptures, whatever Leela, whether it be Prahlad Maharaj Leela, Dhruva Maharaj Leela or Ramayana or Mahabharata, or any Leela you read, we would see this personality Narad Muni present there, right? So he is so compassionate to the souls that even though they are very highly educated and even though we are low fallen condition souls, so he is equal to everyone. Even he goes to the demons, he goes to Kamsha, he advises him in such a way that he gets liberated soon by getting killed by Krishna. So we have seen that how Narad Muni is engaged in glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So 6th chapter actually ends here with the birth of Narad Muni as son of Lord Brahma, right? So with this we end our today's conversation about Srimad Bhagavatam. So this completes 6 chapters of first canto. In the next week, we will look into other chapters of first canto. So Srimad Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.